Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. So today you can see we're actually in a high elo game. I have 3 challengers on my team and a Grandmaster, and I'm of course Sovereign, and the enemy also has the exact same. They have 1 Sovereign, 3 challengers, and a Grandmaster. Their Sovereign is their jungler. He's actually, in my opinion, the best jungler in North America when it comes to solo queue and comes to ranked. His name's Corrupt. You guys have definitely seen him before on my channel. And I think there's a lot of cool things to kind of talk about when it comes to this game. It's going to be a slower paced game. You're going to see better decision making. You're going to see less random ins. And I kind of just want to explain especially a lot of the kind of things Corrupt does that are just things I don't really think about or that I don't do super well. And, you know, a couple of specific plays that I learned from that, I was like, wow, that's like, you know, that makes a lot of sense and I should start doing that. So we're going to definitely skip through a lot this game because we're mostly focusing on the decision making. So, you know, basic things like my clear. So let's say, why am I going for this clear? I recommend maybe you pause this video and ask yourself why I started blue side this game and see if you can figure it out. I'm obviously going to explain it now. The reason is because there's a Garen and an Ornn on the top side of the map. I can't really gank them. Garen doesn't really have good gank setup. Ornn's really hard to kill. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to play around that. Jhin and Nami have multiple forms of CC. They're stronger early game, and they're also into a lane that's easier to kill because it's 2 squishy champions, and those 2 squishy champions outscale my team really hard with the Jinx and the Melio. So all those reasons mean that I want to try to gank that lane early. So because of that, I end up pathing this way. We see the Garen, or we see the Ambessa rather, on her Raptors, and so we know that she went opposite side of me. And so I know that I can full clear because I'm not going to be contested on Scuttle because the Ambessa is on the other side of the map. So because of that, we end up again just full clearing towards Scuttle. Then we look for a possible gank onto the Orianna, which you're going to see here. And because Orianna is overextended, I end up chasing her. Her phase rush makes her survive long enough to where Corrupt gets the first blood just barely. So shout out to phase rush for the Orianna because it saves her life quick enough so now I don't get the first blood. But we still do trade kills, so it's not the end of the world. And then this is actually the first thing I want to speak about. I want you guys to see why this is really what Corrupt does so well. He understands waves better than any jungle that I play against. He knows when he should actually be pushing a wave or when he shouldn't. So most people wouldn't push this next wave, right, as a jungler. But again, I want you guys to ask yourself why he pushes this wave. I'm going to explain it now. The reason he pushes the wave is because my mid laner is dead for 8 seconds and so is his. By the time that the mid laners respawn and get back to lane, half of the minions would have already died. And so even though it's before 7.5 minutes, he still is going to get more value because if he kills this entire wave and I don't respond to the wave, I'll lose all of this to the turret. My teammate will lose all this to the turret because he's dead, and so then we'll lose out on gold. Even if overall, you know, he didn't get as much gold because he's a jungler, he's still going to get more gold than what his teammate would have gotten or what I would have gotten if I didn't respond. So then I have to respond to that wave now and kill it as well. So then he basically just ends up denying his mid laner gold, but he also denies my mid laner gold and gets himself more gold. So this is one thing he does very often is he understands this wave management where he can use these types of windows to crash a wave or make the enemy lose out on some gold, further his own gold lead, these types of things. And so then we're going to go back to clearing. Again, you can see we're just, you know, again, opposite side. So I'm clearing my blue side, he's clearing his. And then he's going to probably look for a gank on some part of the map at this point is what I would be expecting, or for him to go to red side. Because now that I'm on my red side, I know he's probably on his. And that's typically what we would expect. That's why I'm pinging there. Garen doesn't listen though, and so Ambessa ends up killing him. But he does get plates, so not really the end of the world. But these are the types of jungle tracking things that you have to understand, right? Since my red side was up and I knew he was opposite side, we know he's on the top side, so I try to ping that. Sometimes people don't listen, happens, you know, it's fine. But these are the types of jungle tracking, you know, things that are kept in mind in higher ranks. So Garen players, you know, Garen players they don't really think, let's be real. So the Garen played really well at this game actually though, overall. So shout out to Garen still. He's got a big gold lead. And so then because of the fact that my Garen does have a gold lead here, I'm going to play around the Herald. And I'm not going to recall because I've already bought my Youmu's. So I don't really have a lot to spend or like much of a reason to go, you know, back to base. So instead we're just going to try to get control over this. Big mistake by my Diana to rotate this hard. Diana should have just gotten the bot wave, or the mid wave rather. I don't really know why Diana came here. But she did. And so now we just end up going on the Herald. Though, yeah, we do lose the mid wave. That shouldn't have really been lost. It is what it is, though, not the end of the world. We end up clearing the Herald and then just going to drop it. And the reason we drop it top side is because we're going to get first turret gold this way. More valuable than just getting a couple plates. So that's what we do. And then Ambessa, again, another really good thing that Ambessa does here is she immediately goes Herald as soon as she gets the Dragon. The reason she does this is because what do you usually do with a Herald after you get it? You drop it. So, of course, he knew I was going to drop the Herald, so he immediately goes to protect from that drop and then blows my flash because of it. Now, luckily, we're still able to get a couple kills here as a team, so it actually works out decently well for us. But you can see how, again, these higher level jungles, they understand these things. Instead of wasting his time on the bottom side of the map around the dragon, he goes and he tries to protect against that turret, you know, so he can, you know, help his team out, make some type of play, do something like that. And so then here, you see that I got the invade, and because I invaded and he knew I was going to invade him, because of the fact that he just saw me on that side of the map, he knew his Krugs were up here, right? So he knows I'm going to invade him. So what does that mean? He knows I'm going to invade. He knows that we're opposite side of each other, because obviously we started on the opposite side, so we're still going to be opposite. So he knows since his entire blue side is up, that my entire blue side's up. So his logical assumption is that I'm going to go clear my entire blue side. So what does this mean? It means that he has a timer to gank on this side of the map where there is someone, or where his bottom lane is fighting and my bottom lane is fighting. And so while I'm clearing my side of the map, he ends up going for plays, going for some type of gank. And again, he knows that I'm going to be late, so he ends up having the opportunity to force. Now here, he doesn't do anything super specific, but you saw him even trying to look for the play. And then again, he's able to keep track of where I am, because he knows, again, since I just was on my blue side, because again, he could infer that from what we explained. He knows that then right after blue side, I'm going to be going to red side, because he would see his red side would also be up. So he can kind of use his own jungle as an inference for where I would be. And then because of that, he ends up finding a nice ult onto me and kind of forcing me out. Now, luckily, the team is there and we don't lose anything too much. But you can see these are the types of jungle tracking plays, again, that are used by these higher level jungles to understand where I am on the map, to potentially, you know, invade, to look for plays, look for quick ganks, this type of thing. And so then we just end up recalling and going back now again to farm our camps and everything like that, which are, I believe, you know, just spawning. Oh, my bad. So actually, this is a time where we don't have camps up now that I remember more specifically. And so in this case, the reason that I know that I can probably force bot side here is because, again, since we're opposite side, I know I just cleared my red side. I know his red buff's probably up because I only stole his, you know, Krugs. I didn't steal his other camps. This is likely where he's going to go next. And because of that, I decide to force back on this side of the map rather than going to my top side, which is where there's going to be top side is where my camps are going to spawn next. But because of the fact that it's Garen Ornn, I know I can't really do much about Garen Ornn, and because there's a turret here, and again, like I said, I know he's probably going to be there because we're opposite side in terms of where our clears are. I know that I'm probably going to have, you know, some timer to possibly gank here, and so I try to do exactly that. Unfortunately, I get spotted on vision. But again, because we see their jungle, we know we can possibly force a dive. And so that's what we end up trying to do, is to force some type of dive or force some type of play on them to at least get pressure on the turret or something like that. Now, we don't end up being able to do anything because they're aware of where we are. But now notice again, what does Corrupt do? He focuses on waves because my mid laner once again is dead. Notice that we're on the exact same type of thing. My mid laner is dead, so he knows crashing this wave, and now it's past 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so he gets full gold. He knows that crashing that wave is going to get him a turret or make someone respond. Now, I have to respond. And so he gets the vision of me, right? Now he gets to see where I go on the map afterwards. He's like, oh, now I know Talon's going topside because I forced him out. I forced him to go show himself on the map. And again, a lot of junglers aren't even going to respond in mid lane like I did, and then he's going to get a turret out of it. So this is how he constantly creates these really big gold leads against a lot of players. But because I do have the vision of his camp, I end up going for that. But what does he do? He knows I'm invading him. And so during this time, and this is kind of the play I was thinking of before, I thought it was the previous one, but it's actually this one, is where he now knows again that my blue side is up. His blue side's up because, again, we know we're opposite of each other. He just saw me on vision. He saw me go and invade, right? Because he just saw me walk towards the top side, so that's obviously where I would go. And then he has this timer now to quickly go and force a gank on bottom side because he knows I'm not going to be there to respond. So just the same way where I tried to force that bottom gank earlier, now he's doing the exact same thing. And then you're going to see him, I believe he ends up getting kills out of this. Yeah, he blows the Jhin flash early. Now he can pressure the turret. Notice how he stays around for the gank to pressure the turret afterwards with the wave rather than just leaving, right? He goes for the play, and then what does he do? He gets a kill out of it to his Jinx, and he gets an entire turret out of it. So he takes a bunch of value, a really, really good play from him to get a lot out of that. And again, that's what higher level jungles do. They play around these waves better. They play around these turrets that are up. They track the jungle well enough to understand jungle is going to spend this next 20 seconds, 30 seconds clearing his other side of the map. I'm going to use that time to make a quick play, make some type of gank, something like that. Now, what does he do? He goes and pushes mid wave again. He's constantly on these waves getting that additional gold, furthering his gold lead and being able to carry games that otherwise would be extremely difficult. And you can see the slow pace of this game. There's only been 8 kills in 9 minutes because he's focused on this gold, he's focused on the waves, he's focused on the turrets. He's focused on the valuable kills. You know, the kill that he got on bottom lane just now gave him a turret. It was a really valuable kill. Whereas other kills might not be nearly as valuable. And then they're immediately on the objective because I'm already, because I don't have Trinity Force, I didn't really want to fight. So we're kind of focused on getting that Trinity, and you know, if we could have found an angle, we'd go. But you can see how quick he's on the objective. Once again, what's he doing? He's forcing onto the turret with the mid wave right away, playing around these waves so good. You can just see the constant understanding of waves as a jungler, which is so lacking by so many players. Is just something Corrupt does better than like literally anyone else. And it's a big reason why he has so much gold and why he's able to carry so many games. He's like 136 marks, I think, right now, or at least when I was playing against him here. I think I'm like 120 at this time of the game. And then again, what does he do? He once again goes on a top wave. You notice why he's taking it is because it's an Ornn. He doesn't care about the Ornn getting, you know, the wave. It's way more valuable on him. So he ends up taking that entire wave again, getting even more gold, and he's like 1k gold ahead of me. Even though he has 2 kills, I have 1 kill. So he only would have 300 extra gold from kills. But because of the turrets and the waves and everything he's doing, he's up like 1,000 gold total on me. You know, despite everything. So that's like a really cool thing that you can kind of see just like with this gameplay. And I really want you guys to kind of notice the slower pacing when people aren't forcing a bunch of things. And again, just this kind of playing around the waves, understanding that, especially again when someone's dead, like a mid laner's dead, you want to force a turret, or forcing a quick play right after you get that dragon to get that turret, making that gank on bottom side because he knew I was top side for that brief period of time so that he could get extra, you know, gold. And then here you can kind of see a similar thing where I'm forcing a wave with my teammates so that I can go for this bot turret. But he obviously sees me and he's there to respond to the wave. So again, he understands what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get that bottom lane turret because that's the easiest turret to get right now for my team. And so he's aware of that fact, and because his blue side's up, he's on that side of the map already, and he's able to completely stop that, right? So even awareness, not only is he, you know, playing around taking his own turrets, or taking our turrets rather, but he's also protecting his own turrets. So he has, you know, both of those things in his mind really well. And again, you can see because of that, we are down. However, the game is pretty close. I think gold-wise, we're ahead a little bit, but we're down dragons. And so that's a cool thing too. You know, we're in a higher level game. 3-6 is the scoreline, and yet we're ahead 2k gold, and they're ahead the dragons because it's actually like people making proper trades, trading a dragon for some gold, trading for turrets, these types of things that people otherwise wouldn't really do. Trying to use the clone to kind of bait them there. And then just waiting for a blue buff to spawn basically now at this point. And again, notice as soon as the Baron spawns that we're both hovering around this side of the map because we know that's really what's valuable. And then Corrupt, because he's mean, decides to steal my blue buff. That was not kind, but luckily I ended up getting it, so happy about that. But yeah, you see this awareness of the objectives as well. It's just a lot of different things that you probably don't see from, you know, a lot of the junglers you have in your games, which is just cool. You know, it's like a fun game to play. And then again, what do? We're focused on this mid priority now because getting this mid priority allows us to then force potential fights or plays, which we're able to then do on the Jinx and force out her flash because we make them have to come into us. And if they end up being greedy, then we're able to get this turret. So you can see it's really this gameplay around these turrets. And then what is my mid laner doing? As we're focusing the mid lane, he goes bot side and forces on the bottom side of the map. And so since we have vision of the Baron, we're able to go on the bottom side a bit harder because if they ever start the Baron, we can see them immediately. So because of that, I go and take my red, and then now we see them forcing the flip on Baron because they see 2 of us bottom lane. But because we had that ward, we're going to have the chance of getting this. I use my clone again for vision, and then it's pretty much a 50-50 from here, where we end up getting the clutch smite. So that smite was very clutch in the end. They tried flipping the game. Corrupt later said in my chat that his teammates started hitting it. He didn't want them to hit it. And then, you know, he got really annoyed because, yeah, they just ended up flipping an objective he didn't want to flip, but he had to do it because his teammates were hitting it and they weren't going to stop hitting it. So, you know, he was annoyed by that, which makes sense. I'd be pretty annoyed too. And so that's kind of where the game starts turning around because we got a lot on the bottom side of the map. Now we're up 5k gold. We got the Baron steal, which again was just a complete 50-50, like literally just whoever hits the smite, just complete luck pretty much at that point. You just hope that your smite actually smites it, and we got lucky enough that it did. And so now we have the potential to force on the dragon because they do have 2 dragons, so we want to make sure they don't get the soul. And the main goal here is kind of to stall for Garen, which, you know, he ends up then rotating. So now we're just looking to see if we have any type of fight. We force onto the Orianna, get half her health really quick. my champion's burst damage is kind of insane on the squishies, especially with this build, because we're going pretty much a full squish or a full one-shot build at this point. And then yeah, we end up getting the dragon and then just forcing the fight right after. And at this point, with the Baron buff and everything, pretty straightforward to end the game. You're gonna see the game, I think literally just ends up being 7-6 is the ending scoreline, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm pretty sure we end off of this, or we end soon. But yeah, pretty much just a very slow game. You can see all of the focus on the turrets and the waves rather than all this fighting, and that's kind of what you see in high level games, especially with jungles kind of dictating a lot of the pace of the game. And so we just end up trying to end the game here. And Bessa is kind of a funky champion dancing all around. But yeah, we just end up ending the game. So I hope this was maybe valuable for you guys to see what it looks like when two higher level jungles play against each other. You know, last video you got to see me gapping a really bad jungle. In this game you get to see a jungle gapping me. We still end up winning, luckily, you know, but Corrupt definitely played much better this game. He was a bit quicker on a lot of these plays, had that gold lead, you know, in the early game. And then we just kind of got lucky with the flip at the end there. It looks like I'm 117 marks here, so I guess we went on a win streak after this. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one.